If I ever hear that again, it'll be too soon. Hello everyone, good evening, welcome to OKKO Anime Club! Today we're talking about Blockade Battlefront, which I challenge anyone to say 100 times fast. Also known as Kekkai Sensen. I am Tensei Twister. I am joined, as always, by Bizarre Jelly 5. Sadly no backer shift this week for reasons which you should be aware of if you watched the One Punch Man episode. He's taking a break. He'll be back at some point. So for today you have to suffer just the pair of us while we talk about this show. One thing that I was going to mention as well is because naturally with there being just the pair of us, this episode is going to be shorter just by happenstance. So what we've done is we're going to extend the offer to you. You can send a tweet to @OKKO Anime Club with your thoughts on Kekkai Sensen, and then if we have time at the end, which we invariably will do,
we probably will, yeah.
We will discuss some tweets. Just don't be like, oh, I did a poo in my pants, it was so good. We want some actual discussion stuff that we can talk about, because otherwise it doesn't help us at all. Thanks a lot. I can't remember if there was anything else that I wanted to say, like admin stuff.
Any admin for us today?
Any other orders of business before we begin with the show?
Yeah, this one's probably not going to be too long, just because I don't know what to talk about with this show, and people got really uppity when I didn't say much about One Punch Man. So, just so you know, I am not financially obligated to be here.
Girl who was like, "Oh, she's being paid to do this?"
I don't get paid for OKKO. I actually put more money towards OKKO than anything else. So
I'm just gonna move my microphone a bit
that.
closer to my face.
To your face.
So I'm streaming this episode, other than Alan, because he did offer to do it, but I wanted to try and do it myself. So let me know in the chat or whatever if the audio levels are okay. I'm not wearing my headphones, as you may notice, because I hate the things. So if you're getting any kind of kickback from Ebby, let me know and I'll fix it. But I hope not. So
interesting. 1, 2.
You've already spoilt the fact that you haven't got a lot to say. So naturally, I'm going to pick on you to give me your overall thoughts on Kekkai Sensen.
Who else are you going to pick on?
Go for it.
I really thought I was going to like this show for a starter. I was so excited about watching it because it's Bones. We don't get to talk about Bones shows very often on here. I think the only other one we've done is Hero Man that I can think of off the top of my head.
I just want to interject and say that this mug makes me look tiny because it's huge. I just picked it up and saw myself in the webcam and went, I look like a dwarf.
I didn't like it. I really didn't like it at all.
Sad face.
I liked one episode a lot, and then the rest of them were just sort of like average at best, and it was really disappointing considering that everything that I'd heard about it before watching it was really positive, and now that I've watched it, everyone seems to be like, it's not that great. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So I guess I'm kind of the opposite of you being like meh 100% all the way through. I went from absolutely adoring this show, like loving everything about it, to hating it at the end. So basically I'm having like Vietnam style flashbacks to samurai flamenco right here. Just for anyone who doesn't know, this is like an ongoing feud that I have with samurai flamenco, in that it started, it was the best show ever, and then it kind of disappeared up its own arsehole. I wrote a really long article about it on the website when the website was a thing, and I'm still very salty about it to this day. I despise that show. Anyway, but this one is different. And the one thing that I was going to say to you, Ebby, which I think you'll probably find interesting and may explain some of the things, you've gone out of focus as well.
Oh, sorry. Let me readjust myself. Un momento, por favor.
There you go. Un momento, por favor. So, Shiro and Kuro, the twins, they're anime exclusive characters.
What?
So that entire plot involving those two is unique to the anime. And in my
That was the
mind,
whole plot of the anime.
yeah, and in my mind, that was the worst part. Like, I love everything about this show except the plot. Which is really weird coming from me, because I normally hold storytelling in the highest regard. But, like, everything about this I love. The first few episodes, and the smatterings of episodic ones that we get, like when Leo, Zap, and Zed are trying to find somewhere to eat lunch. The Mushroom Kid episode that we'll talk about later. Just all the episodic stuff I thought was brilliant, because it kind of gives you this...
Yeah.
With those episodes, you don't need all the information. Because when I first started watching it, I was like, I know nothing about what's going on, and I was struggling to like grab the threads of the plot and understand what was going on and get it all making sense in my head. I realised by about episode 3 that you don't need to do that. Like, in a lot of the episodes... Go on.
I don't think I ever got out of that mindset of trying to understand everything, and that was probably my major issue with
That's
it.
the difficulty of it. I think about episode 3-4, I decided to shift my perspective and go, why don't I just watch this as an episodic thing and try and have it so rather than trying to follow a plot, it's just kind of, you peer into the world and you see these like little stories about what's going on. The issue is the anime doesn't do anything to kind of help you get into that mindset, because it tries to force your way into following this plot, particularly in, I think it's episode 5 where they introduce the vampires. That is just a plot point that they introduce and then do nothing with.
For sure.
Which was really annoying.
Okay, I can see why your opinion changed on it then.
Because what happened is, as soon as you hit about halfway through episode 10, was it episode 10 or was it episode 9? There was a two-parter about Zap and Zed.
It was episode 9, I think.
Yeah, you get halfway through the second part, and that's when the plot kicks in, and it just ruined the entire experience for me. I was fed up towards the end.
You've been on Skype with me while I've been finishing this show, so I think you know my...
I understand entirely, because I was just like... Evie was like, I've got to finish the last episode, and I was just like, good luck. So
the problem was, at that point, I was just bored. I was just so bored of it, because it had episode 11, which was like a whole episode of flashbacks about these two characters that I really didn't like.
Felt longer than the last episode, which was double length.
Yep. Yeah, it really did. Because I was saying to you, like, I'm nearly done with this episode, and then I checked how long I was into it, and I was like, oh my god, I'm only 12 minutes in, are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. That's what happened to me. But yeah, like, the first few episodes, like, in particular, like, the first half of the series, kind of reminded me of everything that I liked about old anime back in the day. Because, like, it reminded me, like, the way it was set up and the way the story is and how it worked out reminded me heavily of Chrono Crusade, which I really liked back in my college days and stuff. It was one of my first animes that I watched on a serious basis, just because the style of it, it's set in New York, and there are so many references to like random stuff as well, which is great. There's a Scanners reference towards the end in the flashback episode. They go to the cinema and watch Scanners. There's, in the first episode, I'm pretty sure there's a shot of two scientist guys, and they look exactly like the scientists from Pacific Rim. So that was like, oh, what? What other references are there? There's a reference to I've forgotten his name now. The comic artist that the Mushroom Kid really likes is a reference to an actual comic artist that exists. He was like the penciler for Spider-Man and X-Men and all that.
Right, okay.
They just swapped the letters of his name around. So there's a lot of real world references that I enjoyed. The whole setting was great. And like I say, while it was an episodic thing, I could kind of treat it like King of Bandit Jing or like Kino's Journey, all the episodic stuff where it's just you experience a world. And that was great. But then it just kind of disappeared into this nonsensical plot that was created just solely for this series. And it didn't work.
Yeah.
It was completely uninteresting and
I think one thing for me is that it reminded me of an OVA series that I watched called Kyosagiga, and I didn't like that either. In fact, I will put money on... so sure that Kyosuke was directed by the same person who directed this. I'm so sure. I haven't looked it up, but just the style is so similar to me, and I like episodic stuff, but I also, it's that thing where it was just trying to be too convoluted and it was too much, and it was just a bit
Yeah. See, it takes a lot for an well, you know this already. It takes a lot for an episodic show to grip me, because the world has to be really strong, and just be interesting to see how things interact with the world around them. Just noticing some of the comments talking about episodic stuff. So yeah, normally it isn't my cup of tea at all, but
I am apparently correct. It is the same director. Told you.
Boosh.
Knew it.
But yeah, so with that in mind, it's just like, I really enjoyed the first half, and then basically first half.
I wish I'd gone into it with the same mindset as you, like where you were like, it doesn't need to make sense. I'll just enjoy it for what it is. If I had that mindset, I might have felt differently about the first set of episodes.
The first half, and then it would, exactly. Like I say, I really struggled with it at first, like the first 3 episodes or so, and then episodes like 4 to 9 were great, and I really enjoyed them, and then it just completely fell apart at the end, which is sad. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
We're watching Haru Exka Kanju with Dahlia, so bye bye.
No, we'll go into a bit more detail, and I guess we'll talk about some specific characters and like episodes and things. So we'll start with the principal character of Leonardo Watch, who was randomly bequeathed with the all-seeing eyes of the gods, and that makes him pro and just gives him random powers that just sort of happen willy-nilly, and then he learns how to use them from nowhere. But whatever. What did you think of Leo? You've already been asked if he was bae.
He was probably my favourite character.
I like Leo a lot as well. I liked his goggles. I want them.
You do like a good set of goggles in your anime.
He's a Digimon protagonist.
But yeah, I guess I liked him. He was a bit Princess Peachy in the way that he was kidnapped every other episode, but
he was pretty much. I have the MacGuffin. I have the MacGuffin that will save the world in my face at all times. One thing I liked about Leo is how his design. He kind of has that atypical "I have no eyes" design, which he just kind of is almost like a placeholder for characters with no personality. Kind of like I'm thinking about Darling from Monmusu. Like, he only ever opens his eyes when it's dead serious, that kind of thing. But in this one it works because he's got those crazy eyes. So I think that was a nice design choice, rather than having something covering his eyes or having them just open all the time. It was kind of nice to have him just like that, so he looks normal 99% of the time.
I think my thing is that I already knew about his eyes because he has a figure coming out from Altair that has a face swap that has him with his eyes open, so I knew that he had like crazy eyes. You might have to
show that to me, because I've seen the Klaus one, and I'd probably partake of the Klaus one if I saw it at like a convention or something.
Of the Klaus.
Leo was cool. I liked how he was just kind of, I'm a generic hopeless protagonist, except I'm going to have those moments of being badass.
Yeah, he was just sort of like your everyman, but also cool when he needed to be. Got kidnapped a lot, but he was good friends with the Mushroom Kid, so...
Exactly. He had a good heart, and he knew when to look after a Mushroom Kid.
I will say though, while we're talking about Leo, the whole like plot device of him and his sister, and that not even remotely getting resolved was
so what this whole thing of, I was hanging out with my sister one afternoon, and then this massive demon thing turned up and went, hey kid, you want some eyes? I'll give you these eyes, yeah.
And then like, I just feel like they could have done something with it. But at the end of the series, he was still like, I don't know how to write letters to my sister. So it was all just a bit pointless.
The thing is, the cool thing about the whole transference is, Leo got the all-seeing eyes of the gods or whatever, but you find out at the end of episode 12 that his sister got eyes that are made of space. I was just like, what? That means you're blind, apparently, when you have galaxies in your eyes.
Yep.
So,
Or maybe they're eyes that are so good that you just see like space all the time, but you can't see anything closer
so
to you.
she's like super duper long sighted, so she can only see
Yeah.
things that are like light years ahead of her.
Yeah.
There's a meteor coming in about 57 years.
Oh shit.
So I suppose the other main, call him a main character, but one of the principal cast that you see more often than not is I suppose we'll kind of talk about them in order of appearance. So what did you think of Zap-san, apart from being named after an old children's show which was a comic? I don't know if you remember Zap from CITV.
No, I don't.
Damn it. Someone will get that reference one day. Damien will get that reference, please.
We see you in chat. We know you're there. I quite liked him. I think
His dance in ED is amazing.
he was like quirky and stuff, and I liked the episode. He got really fat for a bit.
I've eaten too much KFC because I fancy the cashier.
But I don't know what to say about him. Apart from he was quirky and he had white hair and tanned skin, so he looked really cool.
Yeah, man, he was pretty awesome. Yes, he knew. He got the reference. Yes. Right. Anyway, what was I going to say? Zap, for me, yeah, because he was kind of like this quintessential. He displays himself at first as being a badass. And he's like, oh, look at me, I'm all cool with my blood sword. Check me out being all Dead Man Wonderland in this bitch. And then he just turns out to be this like lecherous scrub lord who's just like this quirky, insane personality that I think it was all like encapsulated in episode 2 or 3 when he's like being Leo's bodyguard while Leo's just out delivering pizza, and he just steals the pizza every time. He's like, yeah, it's mine. Yeah, it's mine. It's mine.
My pizza. I don't know. He wasn't one of my favourites, but I don't know if I had like totally favourite characters in this series.
Like out of the not important characters, I've definitely got a favourite. But we'll get into that when we get to him, which will be towards the end. But I liked his little lighter. I liked how his thing was a lighter, because that made sense with all of his like fire-based abilities and stuff, which again they didn't really explain, but that much they didn't really need to. It was just cool, and that's all that matters.
They just have these powers that are very similar to the powers that the girl has in Kyokai no Kanata.
And Dead Man Wonderland. Like, everyone has blood-based powers in Dead Man Wonderland.
Like, oh man, I can make a sword out of my own blood.
I set it on fire, mate. So after Zap, we get Klaus, who is probably like the poster boy for this series.
I kind of thought he'd be a favourite for some reason.
I really like Klaus. He's not... Well, I don't know, because he's probably one of the characters that gets the most screen time, apart from...
But I feel like... Apart from Leo, obviously, yeah, but I feel like Klaus had so much screen time, but I still don't know a fucking thing about him.
Yeah.
I really don't know anything about him.
He's very mysterious. I just love the fact that he was like this massive bloke, this massive hulking guy, with his like crazy sideburns that could probably kill a man, and his like pointy upwards fangs at the bottom. He looks like the Beast from X-Men, pretty much, just without the fur. And he was just a really nice guy. He was like a proper gentleman, very polite. I liked his little dance in the ED where he does this. And plays patty cake with Leo. And it's just he was a top bloke. And I think the episode where he plays that chess game with the demon was one of my favourites. Only because I'm like a board game player myself, and every time it cut away and then cut back and there was more bullshit in the background of like little sub games and random stuff that they were doing while they were playing for 99 hours, that struck a chord with me. I appreciated that.
I absolutely thought that episode was so fucking boring. Really.
That made me sad.
Well,
You make me sad,
sorry.
baby.
I'm gonna make you sad on my opinions of most of the series, apart
It's
from one
true.
episode. I
I
think.
think I just
So.
liked it as well because it was a Klaus-centric episode, and we only got two. Because we got that one, and we
Yeah,
got the one where he went to the fighting tournament thing.
I thought the fighting tournament one was way better.
Oh,
To be
definitely. I
honest.
really enjoyed that episode. But again, that episode kind of fell flat on its ass when he kills he accidentally like, blows up the guy's head, and there's a vampire inside, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's a blood breed," and then they just cut away, and it's like, "Oh yeah, he killed it." It's like, what?
I don't understand.
Yeah, I was like proper like when it threw him on the wall. I was proper like, "Oh shit!" and they just cut away. Oh, he's pretty tired now because he killed a blood breed. Lol. And yeah, easily Emily's favorite character. I guessed that he would be Emily's favorite character from the get go.
Well, she is saying I'm going to watch solely for Klaus.
Well, you just you get all the things that Emily likes in like an anime man, and it's just Klaus. He's a big guy. He's nice, and he's all like furry and gruff and stuff. She's all about that. She's into her big rugged men, but also
He was a nice guy. I liked
his
him.
manners and stuff. I liked how when he punched that guy, and he was just like, I'm sorry that I had to do that. I'm just here to get my friend." Yeah.
Uh, I just wish I'd gotten to know more about him
Hmm.
because although I like him, I can't say, oh, I like him for this reason. He had like a really interesting backstory about where
Yeah.
he came from.
Again, I
It's
think
just
it's
like-
one of the many pitfalls of them crowbarring in this like anime exclusive story. Because with the majority of shows, they normally do that towards the end. Like they'll put something in towards the end so they can tie it up. Like best example that
Yeah.
springs to mind in recent memory was like Blue Exorcist. That followed the manga really well, and then
Until
it
a
wasn't
certain point.
yeah, it wasn't until right before the end that they went, oh, yeah, Satan, blood, green coat.
I don't
Oh, what's his name?
I don't know why they did that though, because I'm looking at the my anime list page for the Kekkai Sensen manga,
Yeah.
and it ended before this started airing.
I thought the manga's still going.
No, it's finished.
Interesting.
got- No, it doesn't got. It's got a
That's-
sequel.
It's really weird. Oh, okay. It's really weird. Yeah, I know. Like, that's his name, Yukio. When Yukio gets like becomes paladin and all this stuff that like never happens in the manga.
Yeah, and I'm just sat there like, what?
Yeah, what's going on?
What's happening? Oh, my manga. Oh no.
Yeah. So Klaus was great, but he should have got more screen time than he got, or at least a bit more development. Again, because I was talking about this with John earlier, because I was kind of I was still in my like euphoric I love this show phase. I went into the living room and I was like, I'm enjoying it, it's really good. And then John just turned around and went, yeah, it's really disappointing. And I had to text him and tell him he was right, and I hated that. But he was saying like you get no development of the principal cast, and I think if the anime had stayed the way that it was in the first few episodes, it wouldn't have been necessary because their character quirks would have been enough to kind of carry the episodic nature forward. But
Yeah.
when you like start introducing like a proper plot and stuff, you need more kind of fuel to make you care about these characters.
Yeah. For sure.
Sucks. Who was next?
Absolutely agree. No idea.
There's the butler guy, but we know literally nothing about him. I don't even know his
Know
name.
less about him than I know about Claus. There was the woman.
Which woman?
Forgotten her name.
There were two. Chain, the werewolf.
Maybe probably Chain. Yeah.
I like Chain. I just wish that she had
wasn't-
like. I assume she's got like a werewolf form. I want to see it because I'm a raging furry
No.
apparently.
No, you're
But
not
no, you
allowed
don't
to
get
see
that.
it.
But she was quite funny. I like some of the little. I liked her relationship with Zap and how she was just incessantly trolling him. Like there was that bit where he's got to kill the egg, like the vampire egg, and she's all like, "Oh, what's that? It's the woman you fancy. What's that? You want to do the bedroom stuff with him right now? Oh no, he's kind of busy at the moment being a dead man." But yeah.
Yep. And then he was like, I can do this. And did it. And it wasn't.
Just like that. That was funny. I enjoyed that bit. But yeah,
Uh,
it's just again, she didn't really do very much. She had these moments where she
yep.
turned up, was funny and or badass, and that was kind of it.
I feel like this stream is just going to be us going, yep, they came, but we don't know, and then they left.
Yeah,
But they came back
they did a
sometimes.
thing, and they left. Case in point, Stephen. Stephen was the guy with the ice feet. What do you think of Stephen?
Steven was cool. Again, he was in it so little that I
Yeah.
can't say, oh man, I care so greatly about this character. He
You
was
and your
cool.
ice
He was
feet.
alright.
I just can't live without you. I liked his design. I really liked his design, like with the little scar.
He had the like scar and
Yeah.
stuff, didn't he?
And he was in the suit, and he had a cool suit on, and
Yeah, he did
again,
look pretty cool.
ice feet. So there was KK, who was the blonde woman with the eye patch and the gun. She was all like, "I do the shooty shoots," and I think she had a crush on Klaus, but who doesn't really? I do.
Yeah. She was cool. I think I got to know her a little bit more just by her in, if I think it's the right character, where she like sees the little girl and her mum in a car,
Mm.
and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna save them," and then she does.
Yeah,
That was cool.
you get that, which gives you some good insight into her character. She's also pretty much alongside Klaus in the chess episode, so of course
Yeah.
you get a bit of insight into her character there as well. So I think out of the lot of them, she was probably one of the more developed, of this cast of characters that just weren't developed at all.
Yep.
But yeah, she was very cool. Again, eye patch. She had an eye patch and she was loud, so automatically I liked her. But again, it's just like, why did they spend so much time focusing on these anime only characters and not developing the already established cast? Grr. So after that, I think there are more people, but I don't want to skip. I don't want to skip anyone. Oh, Abrams, Blitz Abrams, the guy who has like the crazy bad luck, but it never impacts him. I thought that was
Yep.
quite interesting. How his like curse works.
I don't know. He was really unlucky, but he didn't get any of the unlucky stuff happen to him. It was an interesting take on the like always getting into shit character, I guess.
His intro was great when they're just like, "Hi, I'm Abrams," and then suddenly there's like this horrible car crash. Everything falls down. There's a bit where he's like they're walking down those stairs when they get to the Yggdrasil place because they're gonna go and look in the big hole to try and find the vampires, and then just a girder like just falls out of the sky. It's like completely out of place. Just girder. There it is.
Yeah. He was okay. Again, he turned up like twice, so probably more. Than
Exactly.
twice,
But the times that he turned up, I felt like he made an impact because he was just like, well,
you cared that he was there.
Yeah, I was like, yeah,
so.
wicked, it's that guy. Kinross, just to clarify, he was cursed by a blood breed to be super unlucky. It's just the curse doesn't affect him, it affects everyone around him. So everyone around him has really bad luck, but he's unaffected. There you go. I know things. Oh yes! Dog Hummer! And his literal blood brother, who I've forgotten the name of again already. Oh, Deldro. That's it. So what did you think of those two? I felt that they...
I really, really liked these two
Yeah.
because
They had
even
the
though they
most
were only there a
interesting,
couple of times, they were funny.
Yeah, exactly. They were funny. They had like an interesting... You know what their origin is, so you know sort of where they come from.
With the origin, I feel like I wish I'd known a little bit more still. Like, she was just like, oh, it's like I took tomatoes and I made tomato sauce, and then I took the miso out of this thing and I put the tomato sauce in it, and then they had like that little flashback.
Yeah.
It was like so broken and disjointed that it wasn't really anything apart from it looked like he was terrified. But I really wish I'd known more about the like him getting over that, because it seemed like they were having a bit of a talk about it at one point.
I do find it quite funny how it was like Deldro was this crazy like psychopath murderer, and also what's her name's boyfriend, and then she's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna melt you down into blood and then put you in this dude because he's hot, and then which was funny, but I like the fact that they're just mates, like he's living inside this dude's body and they're just chums.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was a really interesting duo.
Yeah. And he looked cool when he transformed and had like the blood armor thing going on.
And he was voiced by Mamoru Miyano, so obviously he's the best one.
But yeah, definitely one of the stronger candidates of the group. Just simply because he was great, and he was funny and quirky, and like you say, we know more about him. Because unlike,
even if it's only a little bit,
unlike those two characters that we first meet in like the club or whatever it is, the guy with like the sort of long afro-ish sort of hairdo and the sunglasses, and the girl with the cute face, like literally that's all we know about them. This guy is massive, this girl has a cute face, that's it. They turned up twice, and in the credits.
I barely remember them, to be honest.
Exactly.
Like, you're talking about it, and I'm like, maybe, I don't know.
So yeah, it's ugh. Yeah, there's so many characters that are just like, here they are, and away they go. Trying to think if there are any more that I wanna talk about.
Who's your favourite then?
My favourite, I've saved my favourite for last, and that's Zed, who's the fish guy.
Okay, yeah.
It just really annoyed me that he appears right at the end, right before it got bad. Because I don't know why I like Zed so much. I think it's just because I wanted them to have an alter worlder be in Libra. So I was like, that's one of the things it seemed to be missing for the most part. Like, they were all human, or mostly human in a lot of cases, apart from they just didn't have like a full-on alter worlder in like their crew. So when Zed turned up, I was just like, yes, you are a fish man, your weapon is a trident made of blood, you're amazing. And I just like how he was sort of down to earth and just like not taking any crap. And then just the fact that him and Zap's relationship, where to try and haze him, Zap takes him to a sushi restaurant. It's just like, sorry, you can't eat here, it's cannibalism, innit? And then Zed's just like, I don't care, let's have the rice instead. What did you think of Zed?
The problem is, I don't really know much about him. I think I liked him.
Did you like his design? Because I really liked his design.
I thought his design was cool.
His crazy fish.
He reminded me of something that you might have seen in One Punch Man.
Yeah. Definitely agree. It's like I was saying to you before the stream as well. He gave me like the Genos vibe. He kind of has that sort of personality. Maybe a bit more sassy.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Apparently, we missed out Fempt and Sonic.
Oh yeah. I forgot to speak, and that's why I missed out Fempt. I was going to kind of get to that point kind of at the end, because we're past the Libra people now. We can talk about other characters. Okay. So Fempt was a bit of a disappointment to me. Like, he was cool in the first episode, when he's all like, I'm gonna be a terrorist, I'm doing this horrible stuff, and you have to stop me because I'm having fun, and then just proceeded to do nothing.
Yep.
Kind of the same thing, really.
Oh God, we're saying the same thing about every character, I swear. Like, oh, they were there, and then they weren't.
Yeah. And like, he turned up at the end, and was all like, I'll tell you anything you want if you finish my game, and then Leo's like, sod your game, I'm off. And then there was his sister.
In it, like, more of it or something? I don't know.
You know, it's bad when like the sister character gets more screen time, because she got like a whole episode to herself.
It was the girl who made.
Yeah, who did the whole thing with Doldro and Hummer.
Fuck it. What was her name? Someone's gonna say in chat while I look it up, I'm sure.
Quick, I've got a character list here.
Aligura.
Ah, there we go, yeah.
Aligura.
I liked her because she had like the really off-putting, annoying, high-pitched voice, and was just crazy.
Yep. She was cool.
Yeah,
I
she was
I
cool.
liked her as a like
And
bad guy.
in like the episode where she was introduced, the truck that she was in, I absolutely loved that truck. That thing was amazing. It was like this massive thing that took up an entire street. It had like a mouth on the front, but it wasn't a mouth. It was a hand, kind of doing this. It was cool. That was probably one of my favourite episodes as well, because again, we get Doldro and Hummer introduced. We get the cool truck, and it was just funny. Oh, I made this guy because I fancied him, but I like this guy because he was an evil bastard. So I put them together like putting soup in a different container. I also like that they referenced that the tomato ketchup brand was like hens or something.
Yeah.
It was like a
It was
weird
not.
offshoot
It was.
brand. But again,
It was like Heinz spelt with an A instead
yeah,
of an
exactly.
E.
But I like that. Again, that was good. That was some good world building because they made a lot of references to the real world. Like they had instead of Pepsi, you had Peps. I'll have a large Peps.
Yeah.
And that kind of gave the whole, because the plot is like it's in our world, but there was like a calamity 3 years ago where Alter World and the two kind of merged for a bit. So it was nice that they kind of had those kickbacks.
Yeah.
But again, it really did kind of end up getting to a point where it was all style and no substance, which is a real shame.
Yeah. Yeah. Although to be fair, I didn't enjoy the substance in the first place. It was just when it was actually properly lacking in substance, it was
Again,
a real
like,
struggle.
I think the concept and my like will to immerse myself more in the concept of the show and just the way it was presented, because like the OST reminded me very heavily of Blue Sub 6 actually, which you know that I'm very fond of, because it's kind of got that whole kind of jazzy feel to it, and a lot of the OST was lyrical as well, which I thought was a really nice touch. Which kind of gave this really good atmosphere.
Yeah. I don't think anything like bad to say about the music. I probably wouldn't listen to it while I'm on the bus going to places, but
it's like at the end of the episode with the truck when it gets like punched away and it's there spinning, just shattering in the air, and then it's like really like nice.
Yeah, it's like
Leo's falling out the
slow
sky.
ballad going on.
Everyone's dying because there's shrapnel everywhere. It was great. So yeah, props to the OST. It was fantastic, and probably like I think a lot of people will agree with me when I say the ED and just like the animation in the ED is the best thing about this show.
For sure.
But I think
although I really like the opening. While we're talking about music, the opening was my favourite thing because it was by a band called Bump of Chicken, which is amazing.
They did the opening to the Tales of the one with the redhead guy in it. Tales of the Abyss. There we go. They did the theme song to the Tales of the Abyss anime.
The Abyss, yeah.
And it was great. So we've got done with all the things, all of that stuff. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. What did you think of White and Black? Will and Mary?
I didn't even care. Like, I didn't like them. I didn't know about them up until a certain point where the show actually gave me far too much of them, made me hate them. Like, it didn't do... Maybe it's a good thing that they didn't do backstory on anyone else, because the way that they handled Black and White's backstory was fucking awful. Where they just gave us, like, most of an episode that was just their backstory and where they came from and why it ended up being the way that it is and stuff, and it was just not fun to watch, and I didn't care about them, and it just makes me sad.
Somebody said in chat they danced to the ED each week. Every time an episode finished, I was there going. It's just so much fun.
I wish I could see what you're doing right now.
So good. Oh yeah, I was doing like the arm swaying thing. It was great. I'd love to cosplay Kekkai Sensen just so I could do the dance.
Alright. There you go. That's your goal for Amicon.
I really liked White at first. Like when she was first introduced, I thought she was cute. I thought she was quirky, doing the whole thing of "Oh, I'm a ghost, lol," and then being like, "Oh, what? You actually took a photo of me to check if I was a ghost." So yeah,
Yeah.
I liked her at first, and then it was when they kind of started bringing in. It was Black that ruined it. Basically, it was Black and the whole King of Despair thing. When they started weaving that into the storyline, it was nice to give Leo a love interest. They had some good chemistry, and then Black comes in and just sort of puts a massive spanner in the works, but not in the good way. It just
Yeah.
sort of derailed everything there, and then she's a gate now, lol. Deal with
I
that,
didn't.
son. Which is going to completely negate everything.
Yeah, I didn't feel much at the end when White went away. I was like,
Mm.
okay, is this over now then? Because I'd really like to go and do something else.
Yeah, again,
Um,
I just stopped caring by that point. And Kinross made a good point earlier, and it's something that I was confused at when it first started as well. They made a really bad job of differentiating Black and the King of Despair from vampires. Because
that's true.
because
Yeah.
the assumption is when you first see the King of Despair in Black, is just he's a vampire, but he's not. He's this malevolent force from the Altar World that came through during the first collapse or whatever it's called, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's all very complicated and confusing. But he looks like a vampire, so maybe they should have done more
Yeah.
to differentiate the two.
Well, the only defining feature that they had of vampires was the color red.
They
So
looked really nice. Like there was that one woman with the pink hair who looked great. I think they spent a lot of the budget for that episode on her. And
I
again,
don't know.
if they just made if they'd made an original blood breed that they could have used for the anime or something, and just focused on the main cast and just done that instead, that would have probably been a lot better because the blood breeds were cool. And again, they
Yeah.
introduced the concept of them, and they fight two throughout the whole series. Well, three if you count the one that got skipped.
Yeah.
You okay?
I'm looking very confused because I'm trying to work out where in the series you're talking about because it's all a fucking mess.
So,
Uh,
so
help.
yeah, Baxter. No, he wasn't a vampire. He was just a guy. He was a guy that was possessed by an evil thing from the other side. And that's what I grabbed anyway. Because I thought he was a vampire at first, but he's not. He doesn't have the crazy blood wings, and he didn't have blood-based attacks or anything like that. It was all crazy space stuff.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I guess.
the vampire.
Yeah, I guess
there
so.
were three. There were three fights with blood breeds. There was the first one when they first get introduced. When I like that bit when they were like, "Oh, there's more than 13 down there. There's billions of them," and then never go back to it. I was like, that's a plot waiting to happen. That would have been good.
If there's a season 2, I'm not gonna watch it. Just FYI.
I wouldn't blame you. I probably will, just in case it turns out to be good, and they sort their act out and don't do any random other stuff. But yeah, just So yeah, there was that one. There was the one in the ring. So when Klaus goes to the fight and he was possessing that corpse.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the last one was the one that was two halves during Zed's longest day. So they fought his legs, and it was his legs that transformed into
Right. Yeah.
the
Okay.
the
I
egg.
know where you're at now.
Yeah, and then there was his top half that was all like, "Oh, I'm on a plane, yeah."
I'm with you now. I'm with you now. Mostly. I mean, all of it's just sort of blended together to make this nice little mess that I don't understand any of. So that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't like Black and White.
Good.
The moral of that story.
It's the general consensus. Again, it was just if it was White on her own, and she was just a random
Yeah.
anime-only character that they just put in as a little side plot because they had Rie Kugimira and they wanted to use her, then that would have been fine. I would have been cool with that, but
That wasn't the case.
that wasn't the case at all. I did find it quite funny that she voice acted both white and black. I think it was Rie Kugamiya.
Oh.
Yeah, Rie
Did
Kugamiya. Hence why black sounds like a girl.
Well, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
She probably got paid a lot of money to do that. Good job, girl.
We need these anime-only
Go.
characters.
Can we talk about episodes for a bit?
Yes.
So I want to talk about the one episode that, like, the singular
We
one
want to talk about our
episode that I
favourite
really liked.
because I think it's my favourite episode as well. It's a... Oh, hang on, I'm dropping frames. What am I doing that for?
Ooh.
Hold it together, stream. You can do it. You just have to go a little bit longer. So, yes, let's talk about episodes. So, let's talk about the Mushroom Kid episode. I'll let you take the reins
I'm
on
gonna
this
find
one.
out what episode it was.
It was like episode 6 or 7.
It says "Don't forget to don't forget me" is the name of the episode. It was
Yes.
episode 6.
Episode 6. Oh, so good.
This was like episode 5 of Space Dandy, where it's just like, oh, it's all silly and nonsensical and wah. And then there's like this really feelsy episode. I fucking loved it.
It's almost like there was both of those like smashed together, because it was really quirky and random, and then it suddenly turned out to be like really like, oh no.
I like that everyone's like, oh my god, are they going to talk about the hamburger episode?
Hamburger
He's so cute.
for
like,
a tiny mushroom.
what's his name? Nej.
Yeah, Nej.
Nej.
For a tiny mushroom that had like lady bits for a mouth. He was really cute.
Yeah. It made me feel really bad at the end where they were beating him up. I didn't
I know.
like it.
Yeah, it was horrible, wasn't it? And then it was yeah, it was a really, really good episode. It kind of solidified Leo as like a badass for me. It's like, yeah, this kid knows what's up.
Yeah.
And just
He
like
was
how
cool in
it was good because it's almost like they did the whole incident where everyone like lost their memory, and the guys at Libra were like, we should probably look into this, but they really don't. They're just like, this could be dangerous. Oh well. Like
I thought it was quite sad at the end as well, where he, like, Leo got the shit beaten out of him, like hit in the back of the head with a fucking baseball bat.
proper like thick blood coming out of his head as well. It's horrible.
Yeah, I was like, how did that not fucking kill him?
How is he not
but I thought it was quite sad that because Nej got so upset about that, he let off so many of those spores that they both completely forgot about each other.
Yeah,
It's
they
too
just forgot about
sad.
everything, and then Leo lost 2 weeks or something.
Yeah,
Oh, you mean
They,
those
like-
two forgot about each other? Yeah.
yeah. And they were like, oh, something seems familiar. And I'm like, yes, they might remember.
Okay, hamburger. I think another good thing about this episode as well is it really highlighted the rift between humans and people from Ultraworld, and how that's like, it was
Yeah.
showing, like there is a gap here. Like there are certain places where people from Ultraworld can't go. One of them being like, what is it, Rocket and Joe's or something?
Yeah. Because I was like, why doesn't he just go and buy him himself? And then I realised,
You can't, because
that's
there's
why
this
he
whole
can't.
racial divide thing going on.
Which is
Um,
quite sad because I feel like they summed it up quite well in the episode where they said, yeah, there's shit people, but there's as many good people, and it's the same for the monsters
Yeah.
and stuff. And
In particular, that one guy, where like the news reporter guy who was like, oh, would you say that the world is going to shit, Mr. whatever your name is? Hi! That made me laugh, because that was all he said. That was funny. That's a joke. Don't know why.
yeah.
Oh, there's just talking about Ultraworld people randomly. There's the bit where Leo is like falling out of the sky at the end of, I think it's the last episode. He's like falling out of the sky, and Zap makes a net out of blood to catch him. And there's just this random octopus bloke in the background who like sees him get caught and goes, "Yay!"
Oh, I didn't see that.
It's great. He's just like, yeah. Again, just the atmosphere and the world and all the stuff that goes on in the background. The world is so alive, and they just missed so many for as many opportunities that they had. They took to explore the world, like with the Mushroom Kid episode.
Yeah.
With like when them going to find lunch and stuff, they missed like twice as many as what they used. And I think if they just focused on that, even if they'd like ignored the plot entirely for the most part and just had these episodic like little vignettes, it would have been 10 times better than what they ended up with, even if it didn't follow the storyline of the manga.
Yeah. Um,
And yes,
I think I would have massively preferred this series had they done things like that episode where they'd just gone, oh, here's a character in this world, and we're gonna have like fun time with them, and it's gonna be like all of these different things, and it's gonna explore different themes and stuff, instead of it just being like, here's a character, he's gonna punch some stuff, and some shit's gonna happen, and it's gonna be all silly, and now he's gonna go away.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, even if it was just like, even if Libra, like they introduced Libra, and then they're just like, they're what come in and solve the problems. So they're these like badass dudes that just turn up when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Um, that would have been
I don't.
more interesting at the very least, or for the second half, because the second half was just ridiculous. Like, well, not even the second half. It was the last 3 episodes, but unfortunately, the last 3 episodes were rubbish.
They were even worse for me because I didn't really enjoy most of the series anyway.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Like, it had its moments where I was like, oh, this is so good. If it was just always like this, it would be great. Because I thought it did a lot of things well. Like, the action was really great. The characters were fun. I don't think there were many characters that I just outright hated.
Mm-hmm.
And it just annoys me that it all falls apart with the storytelling thing.
Yeah.
Because I value like coherent storytelling quite highly nowadays. And it just didn't give me that. But I got like a little in that episode with the mushroom kid. Nej. I should use his name.
Neji.
With that episode I got like a nice simple plot.
Yeah.
That was encompassing everything that I wanted in it, basically. Like, I'd give that episode probably a 9 out of 10 by itself, because it was so good.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like, when episode 6 happened, was pretty much immediately after I decided to take that view with this show, of being like, I'm just going to take every episode one at a time, rather than trying to, like, grasp onto this
String it all
plotline.
together.
And immediately after deciding that, I was greeted with the Neji episode. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. And I was like, I really like this show. It's so good. And then it all went downhill. So I feel like at this point we're going to start beating a dead horse. I think we've more than sufficiently made our point. So
Yeah.
like I've just looked at my phone. The only thing we got was Lou asked if the action scenes are worth making this show watchable. I would say no, simply because there aren't a lot of them.
I'd say no as well.
Yeah, it's like the action scenes that you do have are cool, but they're not very long, and it just doesn't happen all that often. I wouldn't say it justifies watching an entire series if you're just going in looking for action. Which is one of the things that did disappoint me about this a little bit. Like I say, when it does happen, it's good, but
Yeah.
few and far between.
I would honestly just say there are better things to watch if you're after decent action.
Yeah.
Like Hero Man, for one, go watch Hero Man. It's way better.
It's fucking great.
There you go. Tying it back to the only other Bone show we've done.
Yeah, exactly. So shall we do final thoughts?
Yeah, you go first, because
Okay.
I need to think about it.
So my final thoughts on Kekkai Sensen is the first 2/3 of the show I really, really enjoyed. It was a lot of fun, and all the callbacks to like older anime that I used to enjoy when I was a kid, and just like the style of it really reminded me of stuff like I say, like Chrono Crusade. The OST reminded me of Blue Sub 6. Just the fact that it's in kind of this crippled, or not quite what's the term that I'm looking for? Dystopian New York in the future, It's got all this like monstery stuff, like this hellscape reminded me of Hellboy a little bit, and all this great stuff that made me think I really like this show. I really want to like this show. The character designs were great. The little action scenes we got were really good. Like even in the first episode, you get to see everyone do a little bit of fighting. It's like a flash forward, and I was just like yes, and I was all geared up and ready to love this show. The ED had me dancing every single time with how much fun it was. I've gone on like Tumblr and I've downloaded all the GIFs of all the separate characters dancing because they just looking at them just makes me happy. And there's like the background that Alan did to this stream is a bit of them all dancing. It's just it's wonderful, and I really loved it. And it was that energy.
Dude,
and,
you are gonna love the Leo figure then because it's him in the like ending outfit.
Yes. I need to see it. I'm surprised I suppose it's because I've not really looked at Kekkai Sensen stuff ever.
Yeah, I'll link it to you
until
afterwards.
I will now. But what was I saying? Yeah, I struggled to get into it at first, just because like trying to introduce the plot was a bit disjointed. But I really liked the world and like how it appeared. Once I got over trying to grasp at the plot string, I really enjoyed it, and then halfway through episode 9, just the arse fell out of it completely. I lost all interest because they went too heavy on the whole white and black thing, and I just kind of got to the end of it feeling really disappointed. There were so many things that they missed out on, just these loose threads that they introduced and they never picked up on. And I guess kind of realising that whole sequence with White, Black and the King of Despair is anime exclusive just sort of explains everything, and it's for that reason that when I get paid next week, I will definitely be picking up some of the volumes of the manga, because if there's one thing that this series has done for me is basically made me go, I need to read the manga of this, because what I did like, I really liked. It's just a shame that it was such a disappointment at the end. So this gets a 6 out of 10, and it physically hurts me to say that. I want to give it more. Like, if the series had ended after the Neji episode, it would have gotten an 8. Because I knew that it had flaws, even when I was in my phase of really enjoying it.
Yeah.
But, like I say, it just completely dropped the ball at the end.
Yeah, and for myself, I never really liked this show. And I really wanted to. Like, I really wanted to be like, oh, it's so quirky and good and great, but I disliked it for the same reasons that I disliked Kyosa Giga, which was that it's not coherent. Even though there probably was a way in which I could have watched it that would have been a lot more enjoyable, like Cam did. I don't feel like I have to go out of my way to make a show work for me. Like, I feel like the show is to do that for me.
I guess that's the thing. I was looking for reasons to like it, I guess, is kind of my thing. I was like, I want to find a reason to enjoy this more, which is probably what led me to look at it in a different perspective. Yeah.
I can understand why you did that, because honestly, no part of this watching experience for me was fun. I didn't enjoy it. I think at one point I was even just getting so stubborn that I was never going to enjoy it no matter what it did. Because it's the like ultimate personal taste thing, I feel like. Because if you don't like shows that have convoluted storylines and really complicated fight of the week scenarios, then it's not going to be for you. And I don't feel like all of the good stuff that was in it made up for the fact that the story was so poor overall. So I would give it a 4 out of 10.
Scathing.
I'm the worst.
So it gets a 10 out of 20.
It gets a 10 out of 20.
Really bad. I think
that's a 50%.
I'm trying to think if there's anything that's done worse than that. I'm sure there is.
Probably No Game No Life, because none of us like that.
Well, either No Game No Life or like Watamote or something probably got. Obviously, there were more people, so the scores would be higher. But on like an averages basis, there probably is something that scored lower than 50%. But that is pretty bad. Then it makes me sad as well, because like, no, I want it to have more. Like I'll give the ED. I can give the ED a 10 out of 10. And
Yeah,
then
I'd
maybe
give the OP a
push
10
the
out of
rating up a
10.
little bit.
But I feel like if Alan was here, he would have enjoyed it a lot because he liked Kyosugiga. I'm not going to watch the TV series like people are suggesting because I'm not investing more time into that universe. Uh, because I don't like it. I don't like the way that they structure the episodes. I'm
I
not
don't
going to
think
like
Alan will
it.
like this show at all. At least in terms of like plot and stuff.
Oh no,
I
but
have a feeling that he would have just been like, no, no way. I think he would
but
have agreed
he,
with the positives that we came out with, but I think he would have
yeah,
been more critical than we were.
we could make up a score for Alan if you want it to do better.
No, because he'd give it like a 1 out of 10. No, he wouldn't. I reckon he probably would have given it a 4, same as you. Which would so a perspective, 14 out of 30, which is even worse.
That's
Yeah.
even worse. So Alan wasn't here,
So
and
Alan
he
not
didn't
being
score
here
it,
has
so I
saved
got
Kekkai
50.
Sensen from being sub 50%. Thank you, Alan.
It's 50-50.
um,
Do you want to say what's happening next time?
yeah, so next
Gonna
time
piss
on
off.
OKKO Anime. Yeah, I need to go because I really need a wee. Next time on OKKO Anime Club, we are talking about Aoharu x Kikanjui. Is that right?
Kikanju. No, it's
Kikanju.
Aharu x Kikanju.
Alan's put a line in, and I thought that was an I.
I also, he may have spelled Aoharu x Kikanju wrong, so if he has, oops. I think it's got 2 U's on the end of it. I'm going to check really quickly.
That's fine. That's a.
It does indeed have 2 U's on the end of
Oh
it. So
well, that's just Japanese being
it's
convoluted.
fucked. It's fucked now. All of it.
Cancel it. No stream next time. So yeah, we're going to be getting together to talk about Aoharu x Kikanju with Thalia, who was with us last for the
Utano Prince Summer.
Yeah, the Utano Prince Summer episode.
It's been forever, so I'm really excited to have her back on. So.
Thalia's lovely, so it's sure to be a lot of fun. That's going to be on March 26th. Hopefully I'll remember, because I'll be honest, I thought this episode was going to be next week. So I'm glad that Ebby reminded me on Friday. Was it Friday or Thursday? Whichever day we spoke.
It was Thursday. I was like, I'll see you on Saturday for club, and you're like, oh no.
Thank God this was a short series. So yeah, we're going to be doing that, and hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. I know nothing about this show, so we'll see where it goes, I guess.
Don't expect too much.
All right, I won't.
Have fun.
So, yeah, once again, thank you all for coming. I hope that it just being the pair of us wasn't too unsufferable. I think we did quite well at filling an hour.
I think we did all right considering we're talking about a show that is really difficult to talk about. Anyway.
We had problems with it. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about. We were both quite in all honesty, we were both quite nervous about it being just the pair of us, because normally, as I'm sure you all know, Alan kind of takes the reins for the most part because he's a more seasoned presenter than the pair of us, I guess.
Yep.
So I think it's worked really well. So
okay.
fingers crossed that carries on. We've got a few guests lined up for the next few episodes anyway, so it shouldn't be too bad.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, man.
Alright.
Alright,
Let's say goodbye.
Yes. Thanks again, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye. Waving until you tell me to